So what you didn't get to see was me struggling trying to get that off. I actually had to get up on top of the motor, my whole body. And maybe it was just because I wasn't pulling it straight out, but when I took my time and I just kept going at it a little at a time, taking breaks every couple of minutes just to give my hand a rest, and it finally slid off. So I got that part off. Now I just have to pull it out from this pipe right here. And they say I can use pliers for this, but I'm gonna first try without using pliers. So let's see if I can do it quick or if it's gonna give me a hassle. Because there's no room in this one. I have nowhere to put my hand. Come on. Alright, looks like this is going to give me a rough time too, so I'll save you the hassle of watching me struggle to get it off, and we'll see you when it's off. Okay, it was a struggle, but it finally came off. It only took a couple minutes, and it's not like it took me forever, but it's just a pain because there is no room to work in there. But I got this part off, so now all that's left is to do the reverse and get this back, get the new one on. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so now that this is off, this is the new piece.
Get a little bit of a glare on that.
Well, I'll be taking it out of the package momentarily, but what I'm doing before I did that is I just looked over the two connector points other than this hose, that just to make sure there's no damage, that they're clean, they look okay to me, that there's nothing from this part left on here like an O-ring or one of these connectors. Sometimes they come off without this connector, so you have to take that off like I did to this one, this white one right here. So now that the two hoses, the two pipes seem clean and undamaged, I'm going to go ahead and start to put this one on. So I'll get it out of the package first. Now you can see it's exactly the same part. There's O-rings in there. See that you can see the black O-ring. There's one on this side too. So I'm thinking, because the leak, it was on like this. The leak was happening right here. It was leaking right out of here. So I'm thinking that that O-ring inside is somehow damaged, rotted away in some way. So it wasn't making the seal tight. So we're hoping that that's the case. And when I put this one back in, that it will solve the problem. So now it's time to put the new one piece in. I'm essentially just going in reverse of what I just did. So the last thing I took off is the first thing I'll put on. So that's this hose going into the smaller end on the side. We just push it on and listen for the click, and then I give it a tug and it's not coming off. Now I gotta put it in the back because that was the next part. So I push it in the back, same thing. Listen for a click, give it a tug to make sure it's on there tight. Is it in there? It's not clicking. Nope. Of course, this is giving me a bit of a problem for some reason. It should just click on. There it is. Clicked on, give it a tug, not going anywhere. Last but not least is put this hose on. Same thing. Click, tug, nothing. That's it as far as the install. Now, I gotta turn the car on, let the engine get hot, watch to see if it's leaking there. Oh, before I do that, I have to put coolant in. Can't forget that. Now, we had a leak, so I obviously didn't need to drain it because it was actually really low by the time I got to the driveway. So I didn't have to worry about draining it. So now I just have to fill the reservoir up, and then we'll start the car, let it run, check for leaks, make sure the heater's coming out warm, and that this fan turns on. And as long as there's no leaks and the fan turns on and the heat is working properly, this job is done. So we're going to fill the reservoir up with the proper coolant. This one takes Dex Cool. Now, professionals, they use a vacuum system to make sure no air goes in. They vacuum all the air out and it fills it at the same time, and then they lock it shut with a gauge on it to see if the gauge moves, which means that there's a leak. If it does, they'll let it sit for a minute or two to see if the gauge moves at all. You don't need that. You can just fill the reservoir and let it run. It's just that it causes air bubbles when you pour it in, and it'll take a little while for those to work out, but it won't damage anything. It takes a little while to work them out. So you don't need to do that. I am not doing that. I'm not a professional. I am a weekend warrior. So we'll just fill this up to the proper coolant range.
And where are the lines on ours to show?
They're in the front.
Okay. I'll see if I can. I know where they are, but I was just trying to show. I think they're over here. Nice clean coolant.
Let me see, where's that flash? So these lines are right here. Is that? I can't read what it says though. What's it say? Okay, the bottom line is. What's that hot? Oh, the bottom line is hot, so the top line is cold. If you can watch that for me, see the top line? It's right here. So now that the reservoir is filled up to the proper line,
Where it said cold, right?
yeah, because we haven't run the car yet. Put the cap on till it bottoms out. Now I'm going to start the car and let it run for a few minutes to get the engine hot and make sure all those things that I told you, that the heater runs hot, that the fan turns on, and that there's no leaks coming from over there. And as long as all that is the way it is, then we'll be all done. So we started the car. We just started it, so it's going to take a minute or two to let the engine warm. But we're watching that spot right there, see if there's leaks. And right now I don't see any. So I think that's a good sign, because the pressure doesn't take long to build up in there. We saw the coolant go through. I can actually see it going through because of the white. And I'm not seeing any leaks. So we'll just keep an eye on that for a minute or two while the engine warms up, until we feel the heater blowing hot air inside, and make sure this fan is going. Okay, hopefully you can hear me over all the noise. We got something going on in the background over here, and of course the engine's running. It's been running for a couple minutes now. We haven't seen a single leak coming out of where it was leaking before. The heater's blowing warm air, and of course the fan's turning. So all that's left is for us to take it for a test drive. But other than that, this job is done. I'm going to call it a success. I want to thank TRQ for the YouTube help on the step-by-step video, which actually was very easy to follow. And thanks for joining us. I'm glad it wasn't as horrible as it could have gone, because this is not my favorite thing to do. So thanks for sticking around and watching this video.
I'm glad I could be here with you, even though it wasn't your favorite job, but I learned a little something too.
Yeah, it could have taken a lot longer, but I'm glad that it didn't, and it's actually a pretty decent day out. It's not cold for, you know, the first week of January, so I'm happy. This went well, and thanks for sticking around.
Bye now.
See ya.